begun. This is Cobb County Chairwoman Lisa Cupid and Police Chief Dan Farrell. Press conference addressing public's concern over the recent discovery of a young man found deceased in Fair Oaks Park. This has just begun. Let's listen in now.
And our deepest condolences go to his parents, to his family and friends, to his classmates, and to the community. My heart also goes out to the individual that found Mr. Basinga, the first responders who were on site, and the surrounding communities that I know are feeling uneasy about what has occurred close to home. Mr. Basinga is a young man of 21 years who was found in a horrific manner, hanging from a tree. And this is a violent manner that have caused many to think of the days of slavery and of Jim Crow, and this type of violence shown towards African Americans and particularly men during that historical time has caused many to respond to what is occurring with great disbelief. And I've seen many responses and received correspondence from people who have drawn conclusions about what has occurred here. And it was important when I saw that communication to be able to respond directly to say, I hear you, I understand, and we are sensitive to that here in this county. And we want to see the truth of the matter first for the family, who is deserving of understanding that as they go through their own grief at this time. But it's also important for our community to know the truth. But I don't want us to lose the thought that it's also important to our men and women in law enforcement for them to be able to identify and convey the truth. And I'm asking for some sensitivity for all as we understand the sensitivity of what has occurred. We look forward to uncovering the facts, and I will turn things over quickly to our police chief. But having a lot of misinformation out there in the community is also creating to a great sense of unease about what is occurring, not just to members of our community, but to the family. And I appreciate the heart that our community has, not only as a chairwoman, but being a mom of two young black men. We appreciate that heart and concern. I'm asking for them to also appreciate the process that our men and women in law enforcement need to have to be able to bring clarity to everyone with respect to this. And I know that they are doing this with a great deal of thoughtfulness and sensitivity. And we look forward to sharing more with you. And I look forward to our police chief being able to discuss more of the details of the undertaking of his department.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dan Farrell. I'm the Chief of Police for Cobb County Police Department. I do have a short written statement that I will go over with you, and I will open up at the end to answer a few questions. I would like to make one clarification on this, that there are certain details that I will not be able to talk about today. Not that they can't be spoken about in the future, in the near future, but I believe once I finish with my statement, you'll understand that a little bit better. If we have questions that are related to procedures from the police department, when will information become available, why is there a delay in the information, I'm more than happy to answer those questions for you. And so today I really wanted to take a moment and to speak directly to our community and regarding the death investigation involving Kyle. And first, I really want to acknowledge something very clearly, and that this case has created an emotional response. And I understand that. I recognize the historical sensitivities surrounding circumstances like this, and I do not dismiss the weight that carries. The concerns being expressed in our community are real, and I know that they deserve to be acknowledged. From the beginning of this case, it was assigned to our major crimes unit. Our detectives immediately went out, they secured the crime scene, Any death investigation is going to include a very comprehensive process. That includes surveillance review, witness interviews, scene examination, forensic analysis, and a consultation with the medical examiner's office. And that's standard practice on any death investigation. This investigation remains open, and it will remain open until the last investigative step is complete. And the second thing that I really want to address today is transparency. And as the chief of police, I believe in transparency. I believe that that is essential for success in a police department. Our community does deserve honest communication, but they also deserve factual information. And at the same time, transparency has to be balanced with investigative integrity and respect for a family. And there are victims involved in these cases, there are families involved in these cases, and as much as the police department wants to be transparent, it's very important that we also be respectful to the victims and the victim's family as we're doing that. It's been a long-standing procedure that we do not release detailed investigative facts until we have first met with the family and informed them. In this incident, there was a little bit of a delay in that because the family was traveling from another country. We have a scheduled meeting where we can walk them through the investigative findings in detail. Out of respect, it would be inappropriate for the police department to share sensitive facts publicly about this case before speaking with the family directly. I do understand that when information is limited, that speculation grows. The social media commentary can certainly amplify the uncertainty, but our responsibility is not really to respond to speculation, it's to follow the evidence and communicate verified facts. You know, in any case where foul play is concerned, to include this investigation, detectives look for indicators, signs of a disturbance, evidence of a struggle, defensive injuries, additional physical evidence from the scene, electronic communications, forensic findings from the medical examiner's office. I can tell you that based on the evidence collected thus far, there have been no indicators that another person was involved in this incident. However, the investigation does still remain active, and we will continue to evaluate all the evidence thoroughly. Our responsibility as a police department is really simple, and that's to conduct a thorough investigation and to be transparent in a responsible and a respectful way, and to treat the family with dignity and respect in all of our investigations. I certainly understand the community wanting to know as much about this case as they can because of the type of case it is. And I apologize for the delay in being able to provide more information. However, as soon as possible, we will try to apply some clarity and some context around this incident. Our thoughts from our police department are with the family during this incredibly difficult time. And, you know, it's a tragedy the way it's happened. We lost the life of a young man. And anytime that happens, it's a tragedy. For our department, we want to find out the truth. We want to know what led up to it, get those facts together, and provide that to the family and provide that to the community so that there's no confusion on exactly what happened in this case. It does take time. As the chief, I do ask for patience from everyone as we're trying to balance being transparent and balance the respect and dignity of a family. And so if you can be patient with us, we would certainly appreciate that. I will open the floor for a couple of questions.
Yes, I may, Chief. So if you could reiterate, please, there is no indication of foul play in this young man's death.
No, sir.
It appears all the evidence gathered thus far is tragically this young man took his own life.
Yes, sir, at this point.
At this point, yeah. I mean, you're still gathering information, but that's the evidence.
Absolutely. And, you know, from everything that we have collected thus far, indicate that he was alone at the time. So there has been not one piece of evidence so far that would indicate that anyone else was there.
Chief, just another point of clarification, you're saying you have not yet met with the family?
Correct.
And when you do, the department will be able to share more specific evidence about what has led you all to?
Correct. I believe we'll be able to provide some more context. And, you know, we had a family member that had to fly in from out of country. and make travel arrangements. And they're also making arrangements for their child. And so that meeting should take place in the next day or so as she comes into town, and we can sit down with the family. Once that meeting takes place, we will discuss releasing additional information to the public and put that context around exactly what happened. And I believe that will answer the questions that people actually have been posing.
Yeah, I think you said the word video evidence. Is there any video evidence in this case?
Correct. So there will be video evidence, evidence from phones, evidence from witnesses that were there. There's physical evidence that has been collected. So there is a substantial amount of evidence that our detectives have actually collected on this. That has not been shared up to this point because we haven't had time to sit down and talk with the family about that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I understand real quick, Chief, sorry. So you said the medical examiner is still conducting their investigation
Correct.
into the autopsy. Do we have an estimated time for when that will be completed?
Yeah, they should have preliminary results off of it to have a discussion, but toxicology does take time. But they'll do a physical examination and they'll have their preliminary results back off of that soon. And so our detectives can sit down with the ME's office and they'll get those results.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we have been listening in live to a press conference, a joint press conference between Cobb County Commission Chairwoman Lisa Cupid and Cobb County Police Chief Dan Farrell following the death of 21-year-old Kyle Basinga, who was found inside of the wooded area of Fair Oaks Park on February 18th. Cobb Commission Chairwoman Lisa Cupid confirming today publicly that he was found, I'm just going to read the quote here, quote, found in a horrific manner hanging from a tree. Commission Chairwoman went on to say that this caused many to think of the days of slavery and Jim Crow. Commissioner and Chairwoman Lisa Cupid went on to say and note that there's, quote, a lot of misinformation out there in the community that's also creating a great sense of unease. And she went on to describe the police investigation that is ongoing, saying, quote, I know they are doing this with a great deal of thoughtfulness and sensitivity. Then Police Chief Dan Farrell took over the press conference and delivered remarks, and he indicated, saying at this point there is no indication of foul play and no indication, or rather evidence at this point indicates that Basinga took his own life. The police chief stressing, though, that the investigation remains ongoing. He called the death of Mr. Basinga a tragedy. He also went on to say, quote, I recognize the historical sensitivity surrounding circumstances like this, calling the concerns being expressed in our community real, saying investigation continues into what happened. He also described, the police chief, saying and talking about the tension between total transparency and, as he described it, respect for the victims and the victim's family, saying, quote, I believe in transparency, but also indicating that it is a longstanding policy of the Cobb County Police Department not to release many details in a case like this until law enforcement has had a chance to speak with the family of the deceased. And in this case, that has taken, the chief said, longer than usual because family is flying in from out of the country.